the example here is just because some rich people are smart and have horses doesn't mean you can give a horse to a poor person and they will become smart and rich, right? Some things, just because they might have some connection between them, doesn't actually make it connected. So just looking at your goals and saying, okay, will this actually get us where we want to go? And then lastly, it needs to be time bound. So we talked about how it needs to be measurable, but when do you take those measurements? Some goals, if you try to take a measurement in a week, it's going to be way too soon, right? There's not going to be any way to see change that quickly. If you wait 10 years, you've missed your chance to see what change your actions have made, because now you've had all these other factors, other things have interrupted, and you may no longer be able to see any difference that you had made through your actions. So think about, where should that span be? How quickly can you get something done? This gets back to aggressive and achievable. What is a reasonable time frame for being able to achieve it? And what's a reasonable time frame for measuring along the way to see if you're making progress? So if you have a 5-year goal towards reducing vacant properties, do you measure every year and see where you're at? Do you measure, every couple of years? Same thing with education goals. Do you look at student performance on an annual basis? Do you look at it a couple of times throughout the year and make sure that students are on track for that year? And then if they were on track for that year, by the end of 5 years, are they going to be on track to reach your goal? So you need to think through the timing of it. So now we're going to test you. Do you all have a writing implement? We've got some that we can get for you.
Yeah, we've got some up there if you need some.
Take one and pass it around. So here we want you to go through an exercise. Take one, pass it around. Go through an exercise of creating a SMART goal. And I'll go ahead and go through the example that's on the sheet and then shut up for a minute so that you can work on this. So the example on the sheet actually comes from my boss, Rose, who's a marathon runner. So her goal was to finish the Indianapolis Marathon. The way that she wanted to make this measurable was to look at the amount of time in which she was going to do that. So for her, she wanted to finish it in 5 hours and 30 minutes. She knows that this is aggressive because she's never finished it that quickly before. Her previous time had been 5 minutes, 46 minutes, but she also believes that she could continue to reduce her time down to 5:30. It was relevant to her vision of herself. She sees herself as a marathoner. She sees this as an important course because it's kind of hilly, and so being able to achieve this goal is relevant for her image of herself. And it's time bound because there's a specific date for that race, so she has to be ready to go by then. So the final goal is finish the Indianapolis Marathon under 5 hours 30 minutes on October 17th, 2015. So the final goal is actually pretty short, but going through each of these steps helps to make sure that you're on track with that goal. So go ahead and spend a couple of minutes, think about something, whether it's related to one of the work group topics or whether it's just something happening in your personal life that you want to see happen, and write your goal for that.
To make it workable.
Yeah. Some of the steps in between were difficult for me to define.
Oh, I haven't actually did a total.
Specific and the end point is okay, but stuff in the middle.
Finding the measurable things that you would, yeah, that one, for certain types of goals, it's immediately obvious what you would measure. In some goals, it's like, when it's done, I put a check. What am I measuring? They tell me.
Yeah, I found the specifics hard. I mean, there's a lot of landscaping I want to do, so it's a matter of, how specific do I get, where do I guess. I guess it's defining, drawing up the plan maybe would be maybe the specific goal. The first goal is to draw up a plan, a full landscape plan that would define my action for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so do a couple of people want to read their example?
Sure, I will. So I want to retire in 10 months. I guess it's measurable if I do it. But the steps were, contacting HR and meeting with the financial planner and getting the okay from my manager.
Okay, so it's pretty specific.
Definitely time bound.
Yeah, it's very specific. It's very time bound. It's measurable again in the sense of, are you retired or are you not at the end? Do you feel like that's an aggressive, so is the timeline what makes that an aggressive or achievable goal?
Yeah.
So yeah, so sometimes what makes something aggressive or achievable is if you're trying to reduce something by a certain number or percentage, and it's what that, you know, difference is numerically that's aggressive, and sometimes it's the timeline that makes something aggressive.
And really, if I may, you've created your action plan already. I mean, or you're in the process of it, you know, contacting HR, that's part of the action plan, not really part of the goal, but it's the steps that's gonna get you there.
Yeah, well, we could say, when you say all the time about action plans. So does anybody else want to give their example? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to send a group of students from Emerson to Cuba in a cultural exchange with a performing arts school there. Measurable. If by March 2016, we are there. However, if by October 2015, we have confirmed arrangements, and by February 2016, the funding. Now, that's a really short time frame for the funding, but we can't go after the funding until we have the arrangements confirmed, and that's taking a while. I think it's achievable, you know, through fundraising and various sources, foundations and grants. Why is it relevant? Because it's a vision of a cultural experience for the students at Emerson. We've already started the process. Time bound March 2016. The goal is to go to Cuba. I've been there and I've seen performing arts schools there, and it's where I got my vision from.
Yeah, that is a very good goal. And it seems like you sort of have a couple of sort of mini goals within that, one of them being get the funding secured by a certain date.
Yeah.
So part of what makes that measurable might be how many students are you trying to send? How much money do you need to raise to do that?
Exactly.
You know, is there a certain number of supporters that you need? Those are all things that you can also have as part of the measuring for that. But
Do you need chaperone?
Yeah, we're
Everybody
everybody wants to volunteer.
Everybody
retired
wants to
go
go
to Cuba, right, yeah.
all right, does anybody else want to do one last example of a goal?
My goal is to establish Gary as a world-class eco-tourism destination.
It's a big goal.
Well, yes and no. Well, okay. And then is it measurable? I say yes. TV ads, 5 internet banners, at least 3 radio ads, and it should be on the lips of the residents. You know, I should hear this from residents. We want to know, and I think that's what helps to establish it. Okay, yes, aggressive, but I think it's achievable. I think if we create a marketing plan and work that plan, it can happen. Is it relevant? I think it's relevant because it's an expression of our actual current environment, because I'm working with area contexts. And this environment is our context. Yeah, I think it's an actual expression of that context. And then it's time bound, I'm giving March 21st, 2016, that's essentially the spring equinox. That's also when a lot of the birds are beginning to